Welcome to the Imperial Wealth Podcast, Australia's #1 crypto mining solution provider and leader in training and education, covering the latest news and insights into macroeconomics, cryptocurrency markets, altcoin news, and technical analysis. So now, without further ado, let's hand it over to the Imperial Wealth team.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the Imperial Wealth Podcast. We will be labeling it as now. Very exciting news. We have actually done a soft launch of our new branding and that's moving us away from the Cashkins blockchain to Imperial Wealth Crypto. For those of you who are still involved with Mining Store and our mining entity, that entity will obviously still be running. Eventually we'll integrate everything across to Imperial Wealth and we'll have Imperial Wealth mining, Imperial Wealth crypto. But for the moment, we are going to be dual running the Mining Store brand name and the Imperial Wealth brand name. This episode is absolutely packed and we're actually going to break it up with timestamps down the bottom, and there's some areas you may want to skip to. Other people may want to watch the whole thing. It's going to be a lot of valuable content throughout the episode, but if you want to skip to various areas, we're going to let you know right now what we're going to be covering in this episode. Just a warning, just a prompt more so, make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the channel. You'll get notifications when we're uploading videos. We're putting a lot more into our YouTube content as of late, producing tips and tricks videos, news updates, weekly podcasts, market updates. There's a lot of free education and content here. And we're actually releasing, along with the Imperial Wealth website, a knowledge center, which is going to be a lot of valuable information for you guys, particularly beginners out there who are trying to get up to date with your crypto understanding. For every single topic that we have in the Knowledge Center, we're going to be creating a YouTube video and uploading that to a playlist onto YouTube. So if you prefer to go through that playlist and see topic by topic, there'll be links to the reading that relates to each of those topics as well. Just make sure I didn't forget anything here before we move on. Basically, in this podcast today, what we're going to be going through is three major topics. We're going to be going through the launch of Imperial Wealth. I'm going to take you through a bit of a site check around from the front end, show you what everything involves, what products and services are on there right now, show you a bit of the knowledge center, etc. We are going to be spending a lot of this podcast going through the introduction to DeFi. And that is really important at the moment because we're just about to release our DeFi course, which we've been working on for the past 6 or so months, stacked with a lot of really useful information in there. DeFi is a crazy world, and probably my favorite saying in DeFi is, if it's too good to be true, well, sometimes it actually isn't too good to be true, and there is absolutely crazy opportunities available in DeFi where you can be earning 500%, 1,000%. It all just comes down to timing and liquidity. So this is something that we've been building. We understand it's a higher level understanding in cryptocurrency. Not everyone is going to be able to jump straight into DeFi. We'll go through where we recommend you should start in your cryptocurrency journey in this podcast. But nevertheless, we're releasing that course. And if you're game enough and you want to go straight into it, that's up to you. Otherwise, you'll be able to follow the steps to lead into that. Finally, we'll be going through what DeFi actually is at the very end of this course, and we will tell you about the pre-sale offer that we're having for the course. The other point that I want to make as well, as I did say it was going to be a stacked episode, is we're going to be doing a lot of giveaways over the next 10 weeks. So over these next 10 weeks, we'll have the introduction to the DeFi course. We're going to have a segment on there where we interview the client of ours that we actually built the course with, who's made millions in the DeFi world. And we're going to be learning from the best there. We're going to interview him, how he got into DeFi, how it's changed his life, and his top tips in DeFi as well. And at the end of every episode, we're going to be doing giveaways. So giveaways might be some of the coins that we're investing in the DeFi world that we're going to give to you for free so you can go set up DeFi strategies. We're going to be giving away a couple of the 50 spots that are going to be available on the DeFi course. We're only taking on 50 clients to start with because we want to make sure we've got the time and energy to service these clients best and make sure they're getting the most out of the course. And there's going to be a huge discount to those first 50 people as well. But without going on any further, without actually getting into things, we'll move on and get this podcast started. And first of all, let's go in and have a look at the launch of Imperial Wealth. All right, guys, so this is the crypto section of the Imperial Wealth website. As you can see, we've got the betting platform in here, we've got crypto, we've got foreign exchange, we've got the knowledge center, and we've got the news section of the website. It's finally brought all of our businesses and our brands together under the one brand, Imperial Wealth. So as a crypto interested person, you may want to come to this crypto tab, have a look at what we have on offer. Of course, we've got our mining solutions, which are hosted mining solutions, or we can send miners to you to host yourself. And we've got our trading section, which involves education, a trading course, our analysis, our access to our trading academy. We've got NFT service. And now, of course, we've got the DeFi service coming out, which we're incredibly excited to onboard everyone with. So have a play around in here. You can all access this, and I'll put the link in the description of this video. But what I'll actually take you on and see is what you're going to see as a member. So once you do sign up to an account and you purchase some of the services or products, you can go to this app section, and that's going to give you this kind of view. So as you can see, there's a few tabs here in the crypto section. You've got your education, your terminology guide, which is coming soon. We've got your trades, token analysis, market updates, video updates. It's absolutely stacked, and your miner management. And I'm just going to take you into some of these tabs and show you what it's all about. So in the trade section, I'm not going to scroll through and show you all the trades because it's a bit unfair to our paying members who are paying for this content. But you can obviously get a little bit of a view here of the trades that we've put out, get an understanding of how, as a member, the value that you're going to be getting. If you go a little bit lower, you can actually start to filter assets by all the different cryptos that we've been in. And as you start to filter these assets, it's going to change the return on investment you receive. If you leave it as completely open, it'll obviously show you the return on investment, the lifetime service. Okay, so that's a bit of the trade area. Obviously, you've got your token analysis, and here you go. There's a couple of free tips, I guess, for you here of coins that we've invested in the past. I strongly recommend that you wouldn't just go and invest in these right now because some of them might not be good entries, some of them may be. But obviously, if you become a member, you're going to be able to open these tabs and start actually seeing the analysis that we're publishing. It's obviously in chronological order, and for Bitcoin, I could keep on scrolling. We've been publishing stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of updates since back in February 2019 when we officially launched the service. But I'll show you a little bit of what some of these look like now. So if you were to go into the analysis, you're going to get our Mitch, who's on the podcast with us, writes all these updates, keeps you up to date with what the market's doing. And then if we start buying or selling any of the assets, you're going to get notifications saying that we're doing that as well. So you can follow the expert analysis that we're putting out there and keep up to date with markets, as well as be aware of what we're actually buying and selling ourselves. Okay. The next tab that I want to show you is the education tab. And at the moment, we haven't uploaded all of the DeFi course onto here just yet, but it's going to be a very similar structure to the crypto trading course that we do already have on the website. So I'll quickly go through with you what that kind of structure looks like and the value you're going to be getting there. You obviously come in, you've got all your modules. And again, this is the trading course. This is not the DeFi course. The DeFi course will have obviously all the DeFi modules. But you can see in here, how many lessons there are, how long some of the course is going to take you. Once you click on the first topic, it'll be broken up into subtopics. You got your introduction, what is blockchain, cryptocurrency. This is a beginner's course to cryptocurrency. Once you purchase the DeFi course, this will all be DeFi content. You'll be able to see, on-chain activity, how to do bridging of assets, how to do yield farming, how to do airdrop farming, all these kind of things, which are really relevant to DeFi. There's so much for you to get through before you even actually deploy your own first bit of capital. And there's so many different strategies that you can run in the DeFi world. So I suppose that's what this podcast is about in whole. After we go through this introduction of the Imperial Wealth launch, we're going to be jumping into what that DeFi is about, and you're going to be able to make the decision if that's something that you want to start exposing yourself to. Now, of course, where this all began in the crypto world for us started with Mining Store, and we're still massive into mining. In fact, it's what we recommend people to do before anything, is build your mining farm and use the cryptocurrency that you mine to then diversify your portfolio, and then you use your diversified portfolio profits to go and further capitalize on the DeFi world. I'm going to run through that strategy after we do the finishing up of Imperial Wealth soft launch. But this is a bit of a view. If you own miners with Mining Store, in the next couple of days, you're going to receive an email with your login details to Imperial Wealth, and all of your miners are actually going to be viewed in this format. You'll be able to see how many miners you have online, in total, how many are online, how many miners you can see via the F2 pool, if there are any offline, etc., etc. Okay. Now, if a miner of yours went offline for any reason, or one was under hashing, you can actually now raise tickets in this platform and talk directly with our support staff. A lot cleaner than the old system we used to have. So let's say we're opening a ticket for a broken miner. You would click that button that I just clicked there. You would come through, let us know that it's offline or maybe it's under hashing. It would automatically select the miner that you've selected. You'd write a little bit of a description. My miner is under hashing. And then you can submit that ticket. Now, after you submitted that ticket, it's going to open up a ticket in here with our support staff, and you could speak to Karanthi, who's our head technician, hello, and let them know what's going on. He can then reply to you, let you know that it's already fixed and it's back online, or what's going to need to happen there. Okay. Same thing for billing inquiries, anything. It's all nice and structured. And yeah, this is pretty revolutionary, if you ask me, compared to what other services and other facilities are offering out there. All right, so moving on from mining, the final thing that I want to show you guys, and a lot of you who are members of Mining Store or the Trading Academy will be familiar with Discord. We've actually built our own version of Discord in our community section. It's not finished just yet, so bear in mind once we jump across, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we will be integrating everyone across to the community side very soon. And this is what it's going to look like. So going to be a bit cleaner than this, but you'll have all your tabs here for crypto, for trading, for the Trading Academy, crypto announcements, everything like that. This is just a dummy version. Still got your pinned messages, still got your ability to do emojis, which everyone loves these days, everything you need in there. And you're going to be able to engage with each other and make sure you're getting the most out of our services. So that will conclude the section of the podcast that we're going to be going through in terms of the soft launch of Imperial Wealth. As I say, the Trading Academy members have already been sent their login details, and all of you miners out there are going to be receiving your login details, and you can start engaging with the platform. You can even start checking out some of the other businesses that we have, the betting service, the Forex trading services. Yeah, it's very exciting, guys, and it's all here. So we're going to move on now to having a look at DeFi, and the first part of that involves looking at the Imperial Wealth strategy. So let's head over to that now, guys. All right, guys. So now let's have a look at what the Imperial Wealth strategy really is. Now, I prefer to have this done a little bit neater than just in what we use a little software called Lucidchart, and I will be publishing this in a bit of a better format at a later date. But nevertheless, for the sake of the podcast, the information's here, and let's go through it together. So, as I said before, the first place that we started ourselves investing in cryptocurrency, and really the bread and butter or the bricks and mortar of our investment strategy has really been built around mining, and mining Bitcoin in particular. There's 4 reasons that we have done that, and we've stuck to it, and you can see those 4 reasons here. Let's go through them quickly together. So the first reason is it's a very long-term strategy and a long-term income. You can purchase miners today. They should last for around 4 or so years, which is very similar to what the Bitcoin cycle is. In terms of it reaching a bull and a bear market and coming back to the bull. And basically, that's a very important thing because too many people, wait for the news to be saying, oh, Bitcoin's at all-time highs, and then they go and buy their first investment into Bitcoin or an altcoin, only to experience a severe downturn after that. And they may sell those coins at a loss, or they may hold them for the next 2 or 3 years until they finally come back into profit. Whereas with buying Bitcoin miners. You purchase the miners, and every day they just mine a little bit of Bitcoin at every price. And that relates to point 4 here, which is it's a forced DCA or dollar cost average strategy. You're not just buying Bitcoin at 60,000 and then it dumps down to 20,000 like it has now. If you had bought some Bitcoin miners, you're picking up Bitcoin every day for the next kind of 4 years. So those are the two main reasons we really encourage people to buy Bitcoin miners rather than just investing straight into coins. The other two reasons is it's incredibly passive and scalable. Passive in the sense that you can buy the miners, have them hosted at our facility. All you really need to do is pay your miners power bill every month, and the Bitcoin will just land in your wallet daily. And scalable in the sense that you can start with $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 investment into Bitcoin miners, all the way up to 50 million plus if you want to. Depending on the position that you're in right now, that may seem like too much to scale anyway, and that's fine. You don't have to scale that high. But for some companies or some institutions, it's a very important thing that you're not going to hit a ceiling. Other investments out there, you can end up hitting a ceiling and it becomes less and less lucrative, potentially when the returns are high. Okay. But that's a little bit about mining. We went into, in the previous section of this podcast, what it looks like to manage your miners in a very brief sense. But of course, guys, we offer 30-minute free consultations. And that's the best way for us to explain to you everything about cryptocurrency mining. So the links are in the description. If you want to jump on a call with one of our mining experts and find out if mining is for you, then go and speak to them and they'll give you all the details, all the prices, any deals that we have on at the moment. Now, the second part, and this is in chronological order, you don't have to buy miners before you get into trading. It's just what we recommend. If you don't have the initial capital to get into miners and you want to start with the trading, that's up to you. And that's the second part. After you've been mining for maybe a year or so, and you've built up a nice sizable amount of Bitcoin in your portfolio, and potentially Bitcoin's had a nice run to all-time highs, you may want to start to sell off some of that cryptocurrency. And your next question will be, okay, what do I now do? And the answer to that question is you want to start diversifying your trading portfolio. Okay. Now, before you diversify your portfolio, you need to make sure you've got the right education behind you. Okay. You don't want to be jumping straight into investing into all these random coins and maybe even DeFi plays, and really don't know what you're doing, and it's just someone at the bar saying, oh yeah, you should buy this, or one of your mates saying you should buy it, and then of course they never tell you when to sell the thing, and then you're left with it kind of going, oh, what am I even holding this for? Make sure that you do the right education. We offer a trading course, which you can purchase. We also offer a lot of free knowledge in our knowledge center, which should get you up to scratch to at least start owning some Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then if you want to take it to the next level and start investing in altcoins and really taking advantage and setting up your portfolio in the right way, of course, you can go buy that course and learn how to start trading. Once you've got the education behind you, you need to be able to conduct your own research or be getting access to research. Okay. Now, what we do in this sense, we run what we call the Trading Academy, and that's where you will get access to all of the research that our head analyst Mitch, who's also on the podcast and will appear later on, will obviously be able to get access to all of his research and analysis, everything that we're investing into as a company, the reasons why, when we're entering, when we're exiting, pretty much gain access to what we're doing as full-time traders ourselves. Okay. And that also encompasses a community where you can talk to our other traders and get their opinions on things and start staying in tune with the market without having to do thousands and thousands of hours of research and second guessing if you're even looking at the right stuff. Okay. Once you've got the education, once you've got access to the research and the knowledge, it really comes a situation of structuring your portfolio in the right way. An example of what we mean here is too many times people set out the right structure and they have, say, 60% in Bitcoin, 30% of their portfolio in Ethereum, and they've got a little bit left over, 10% to invest in altcoins to start with. All of a sudden they make a hell of a lot of money in these low cap altcoins and think it's easy money. They sell all their Bitcoin and Ethereum into altcoins and not realize what they're doing, only to experience a downturn in the market and lose half their portfolio. It's not the right structure, guys. You need to learn how to structure your portfolio in the correct way, and you need to stay disciplined with it. And that's something that you will automatically gain access to on the Trading Academy. We invest a certain amount of units into major coins, and we invest a certain amount of units into altcoins, and we shift it with where the market's going. If we're in a bull market and it is easy money, we will start to push more of our portfolio into altcoins, and as the market comes off, we'll start to sell that off back into more of the majors or even stable coins if necessary. Finally, it becomes a part of managing your portfolio. Once you've got the education, once you've got access to the research, once your portfolio is structured, you need to learn how to actually manage that portfolio and avoid high fees or make sure you're making the right moves in and out, etc. Okay. So that's the second part of our investment structure. So you've got your miners constantly generating your Bitcoin, you're selling that Bitcoin at the right time, and then using that sold Bitcoin to invest into altcoins and structuring out your portfolio in a diversified way. And then finally, you get to the crazy world of DeFi, which is absolutely incredibly lucrative, but also requires a bit more skill and you're taking on a bit more risk. And those are the main points that I've really got here. It's a high skill and requirement. It's a high risk, but high reward. And the final point that I always like to say in DeFi, it's not always too good to be true. You may see kind of 300 to 1,000% returns. They may not last forever, but if you know how to interact with DeFi in the proper way, you can really capitalize on this market. Okay. So that's all we want to do in terms of understanding the Imperial Wealth crypto investing strategy. Now we actually want to move across and start talking about DeFi itself, what it's all about. So we're going to flick back and we'll be with you in just a second. All right, guys. Well, if you decided to skip through this part of the podcast and come straight to what DeFi is all about and hear a little bit more about the course that we're just about to release, then welcome back. Otherwise, if you've watched the whole thing, I hope you got a lot of value in terms of the introduction to Imperial Wealth and a little bit about the Imperial Wealth strategy in terms of investing into cryptocurrency. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the DeFi topic, and me and Mitch are going to have a bit of a conversation and talk a bit about how we got into DeFi, what we think it's all about, and why we think it's so important for you. So, Mitch, do you want to cover through maybe from your perspective what DeFi is all about?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way for a beginner to understand what decentralized finance is it's just quite the opposite of traditional finance, which they would have obviously engaged in probably most of their life with the government, banks, and whatnot. So essentially, decentralized finance is just the elimination of these central intermediaries, such as banks, governments, other things, and it allows individuals and entities to actually conduct financial transactions with one another through things such as smart contracts. And, it was really popularized through, although Bitcoin, really laid the foundations for cryptocurrency, It was really Ethereum and Vitalik Buterin that laid the foundations for decentralized finance. I think a lot of, people that are probably watching this video have one way or another inadvertently been involved in decentralized finance. I know my kind of introduction to it was through NFTs, when that started coming up. I wasn't fortunate enough to get too heavily involved in the DeFi summer that you'll most likely hear Clint expand on when we have Clint on and his successes there. But yeah, really it's just the ability to conduct things peer-to-peer with people through smart contracts without the need of banks that are able to take things such as fees or hold money and whatnot. And yeah, of course, at the core of it, like we've discussed, once you dive deep into decentralized finance, it allows you to have passive income earning opportunities, which most importantly is around the clock. You can be in a bear market, you can be in a bull market, and you can engage in decentralized finance to find these income earning opportunities, regardless of how the market's performing.
For sure. I think I love the point that you mentioned there, that that was probably the big light bulb moment for me, where you realize how banks and institutions are making so much money out of liquidity. How they're able to loan to people at such higher rates, and what they're able to do with this liquidity on the back end. And really, once I started personally getting to DeFi, that's when I realized at first, why it's too good to be true that you can be making this, and then realize later, oh wait, actually no, it's not, and that's what these big players have been doing this whole time, right?
Yeah.
So pretty awesome thing, I guess, that the average person can actually gain access to this, but also kind of not necessarily upsetting, but a frustrating thing that so many people still wouldn't believe it and haven't been given the opportunity to gain access to that yet.
Yeah, and I mean that's the amazing thing about decentralized finance versus traditional finances. Not everyone has the ability to go to a big bank and open up a bank account, but assumably most people on earth, now have a computer and an internet connection. And, the decentralized finance world means that if you have an internet connection, you can now participate in the world of finance. You don't need to be able to go to a bank to open up, a bank account and whatnot. You're able to transact now freely just with an internet connection, which is absolutely incredible. And like you said, skipping these central intermediaries that'll, scam fees off you and whatnot. So, yeah.
100%. Now, I guess I know when I first you mentioned your introduction to DeFi maybe came through the NFT. Mine probably did a little bit, and I probably didn't realize I was even involved with DeFi at that point. Just kind of thought, oh, this is a cool new thing. I think the point for me, and I actually probably entered in DeFi maybe one of the wrong ways, not necessarily the wrong ways, but just one of the more lucrative ways, was more through projects kind of like Drip and these more suicide projects or Ponzi scam projects where it's just a timing thing. And I mean, like, I think a lot of people out there, and even some of our Trading Academy members, because we did tip it, and by the way, we made a lot of money on it, but it's not really traditional DeFi, is it?
No.
It's not. These are kind of like money making plans and get rich quick plans, which can work if you time them properly. But what we've kind of learned over the past 6 or 12 months, and what we've been able to make quite a substantial amount of money in over the past 6 or 12 months, is how you can actually use projects like, we could use Binance coin as an example, how you can be providing liquidity into these pools and getting paid fees for other people who are using that liquidity, how you can leverage up those positions that you have, how you can collateralize those positions and take out loans, and how you can open yourself to airdrops, and just all of this stuff that's just like, it's a crazy world.
And it's a really good point you make there, Will. Like you mentioned Binance Coin, and I think, for those Trading Academy members that are watching, this is really a really important thing for you guys to understand, is that a lot of you would have, a lot of your spot trades sitting there idling in times like this, and you might have a few buys that you've watched go down, and you're wondering, what can I do? Well, this is the exact thing for you. I can assume that most people watching this hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. In the course, we dive into different things such as try crypto that you can get involved in, holding just as simply Ethereum and Bitcoin. And like we mentioned, I think most people they think NFTs and suicide projects that's what DeFi is, and I think this course is a real eye opener, like you said, to people that think DeFi is one thing, but once you see the realm of possibilities of all these different things you can do with coins you hold, it really opens up your mind.
Yeah, and so well said. I mean, like, we've tried, I guess, like through the Trading Academy, we've tried to expose people to some of these DeFi plays. We've put guides on how you can do very basic staking with whether
staking,
it be BNB or exactly. And that is the fundamental stepping stone into the world of DeFi. But like, it's impossible without educating people properly and mentoring them to really open their eyes and allow them to be properly using their liquidity and creating proper positions with their trading portfolio. So I mean, we don't want it to be daunting, I think, is the major thing. We don't want people to feel like, oh my God, it's going to be crazy, and how am I going to manage this, and how am I going to manage that? Sure, at first it can be a little bit stressful. Maybe you may be like questioning, should I be doing this? Is this safe, etc. But once you get on top of it, and it doesn't take that long, after doing your first bridge of assets, and after setting up your first liquidity pool, you really start to just see opportunities, and you can understand, oh my God, I can be making another 200, 300% APY just by shifting my capital around, when usually I'll just be holding that coin for a trading perspective, right? So, I mean, those are really good points in terms of what we want people to understand about the course. Might just have a quick look at some of our notes here. If there's anything else we want to cover in. If you have anything there, Mitch, go ahead. But I suppose some of the major challenges and triumphs that people are going to come across.
Yeah, I did want to touch on that because, like we said, we don't want it to be daunting, but decentralized finance, it does have its disadvantages. That's just like most areas. And the thing that, whilst it is a bit daunting, the most important aspect of this course is that you actually complete the course and thoroughly understand it. And I guess what I would like to say is that's probably a stark difference between the Trading Academy and something like the DeFi course, where the Trading Academy, you can sign up and you don't really need the required technical and fundamental understanding to follow the tips. You can still do that, even though it is better to understand those things. But this course, you most definitely won't be able to just follow the tips that we give out unless you thoroughly understand the course.
Yeah.
And just going back to what you said before, that was a great point. To think of this course and think of participating in decentralized finance as the same as participating in any other thing, such as a sport. I'm sure if you picked up an AFL football, you kicked it for the first time, you're thinking, I'm never going to be able to, remember how to do this or whatnot. And, decentralized finance is the same thing. Everyone makes mistakes. You're going to put your money potentially in the wrong pool, or you might bridge to the wrong asset and make a mistake. But the most important thing is, that you learn from these mistakes, you do it a couple of times. And, by the end of this course, like, I'm pretty confident most people, if not all, will be able to be conducting, their own decentralized finance strategies and looking in their own different liquidity pools and, taking different avenues, and necessarily won't even require the tips because they'll have their own, spot holdings that they'll want to dive into and whatnot. And I think that's the most important thing, is that this course, it will teach you to do this on your own. You won't necessarily need to rely on us to push you to the right coins or push you to the right places.
And I so well said in terms of the challenges, and so important to get through the course, because even personally knowing how I used to engage with DeFi before building the course and getting so much knowledge out of Clint, and actually practicing it myself, like I just didn't understand how things were working to the degree I understand now, or I wasn't as confident to execute things. And now, like I thought back then, like, oh, how does Clint always know this next project that's coming up to shift his capital into and then take advantage of this? And I was like, man, this guy must do this 24/7. But it really does just open the door, and you kind of just see it, like it's so obvious what's going on once you get into it. So perfectly well said, and such an important reminder. Get through the course, spend the time doing it. DeFi is going to be around for a long time. You don't have to, just because you first learn about a folding strategy or you first learn about how to leverage up a position, go and do it straight away because the opportunity is going to go away. There's always the next opportunity. Just get the fundamentals down first.
And I will comment, like I understand, the market's down at the moment, and there are risks involved with decentralized finance, but I personally feel, including myself, that like it's a really great time to get into it and understand what you can do with your capital, because like we've reiterated a few times, you're opening the door to understanding, wow, during these bear markets, I can be putting my spot coins here and there and still be earning passive incomes, whilst the rest of the world is melting.
Literally nailed it. And like, even personally, I've been sitting, I sold a lot of positions off, and we sold them on the Academy as well. Some of the early Bitcoin and Ethereum positions, and I had that capital sitting in, US Tether. And even now, I've been kind of going, wow, some of these DeFi projects are at lower value. I've made the trading decision to buy back into those, and now I've started deploying those in DeFi plays and earning crazy yields. So go ahead, sorry.
And that's the thing, because, and a great point you make, a lot of people are very similar to you. And the most amazing thing is that majority of traders will tell you, I've just been sitting out, the last 8 months with USDT. I'm happy being sitting in USDT without realizing how much money they could have made putting that USDT elsewhere.
Just crazy. I mean, like, even just spending $1 or $2 on a new platform and getting an airdrop, which can be like thousands of dollars sometimes. We won't give away all the secrets. Obviously, there's a course to be done. We don't want people trying to do it without getting the right education. But yeah, that's awesome. So that probably covers really some of the challenges you're going to face, some of the triumphs you're going to have. And I suppose just to conclude here, like, what we really want people to get out of this course is have an incredibly more broad perspective of what cryptocurrency actually is. Once you start engaging with these contracts, platforms, lending platforms, etc., you're really going to have a much more appreciation and skill level within the cryptocurrency industry. And B, you're going to have the tools there to, as Mitch said, maybe not even need to follow our recommendations, but identify your own opportunities and shift your liquidity and capital around, taking advantage of some of these high yields and airdrops
Yeah.
and things like that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And like I will add, like just back to what I was talking about with timing, is like it's almost like the people that talk about, I wish I was around in Bitcoin in 2013. Well, like you have an opportunity here where, decentralized finance was probably popularized mainly in 2017, the 2018 cycle, where Ethereum really started to pick up and become a serious protocol and to have app development on there. That's kind of led to the opening up of decentralized finance. But, like we've said, we're early days here. Like it really picked up in the summer of the recent bull market, and you've now got an opportunity to tell yourself, imagine if you're around for the start of traditional finance, or you're around the start for decentralized finance, so you really have an opportunity to cement yourself in it and make something of it. So
you get so many people saying that, don't you, Mitch? Like, oh, I think I've missed the boat. It's like, well,
yeah,
if you've missed the boat on buying Bitcoin when it was $1,000, then don't make the same mistake and miss out on DeFi. I suppose the final thing that I'd like to say before I go into the details of the course is just how possible it is to actually make a full-time income out of DeFi if you actually get ingrained with it. I actually know like 10 or 15 people that some of them still work their jobs, but are making substantially amounts more, whether it be airdrop farming or whether it be yield farming or whatever they're doing. Of course, there's a lot of risk in that as well. That's not financial advice to go quit your job or anything like that. But just being aware that, if you set your skills up properly, or if you just want it as a subsidiary income, it's very possible just committing that, 10 or 15 minutes a day to checking your portfolio, making a few changes, you can really open yourself up there. So on that note, Mitch, is there anything that you want to cover across? I think that's a real nice introduction for people of what the course is going to involve and also what DeFi is about. Any final points before I go through the course?
No, I think we covered that off. We covered that off well.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, I will read off the page here just because obviously when we're releasing offers, I don't want to get it wrong. But basically, the course itself is kind of take us around the 6 to 12 months to build myself, Mitch. Clint, I should actually say, my mum get me in trouble for that. I should say Clint, Mitch and I have spent a lot of time building it. And we've also relied on some of the partners that we've met in DeFi throughout the days as well to really build this out and make sure you're not making the mistakes that beginners usually do make, and make sure you get the right education. So we're pricing the course at $5,997. That gives you full access to the course as a lifetime member. In the first month, which will start on Monday next week, so for all of November, we're going to be doing a pre-sale. We're going to be selling the course at 50% off. So bringing the course down to around $2,998 or something of the sorts. So 50% off for that first month. There's only going to be 50 spots available. And the reason for that is we want to make sure that we making sure that we're not getting too many people on board and not being able to spend the time to mentor the people who have spent good money on getting the course. We want to make sure that we can really sit down with everyone. We're looking at doing things like live streams in the first couple of weeks. So the course will actually go, we'll be doing the pre-sale between 1st of November and 1st of December. Course will go live on the website on the 1st of December. We want those 50 people starting at the same time. During that first month, we're going to do a couple of live streams where we check in and you guys can sit on the chat and say, this is what I'm struggling with. We can do a couple of play around and show examples and really get a community involved and helping each other out. So that's how we're going to do the release. And also for early bird purchases, we're going to give you 2 months free access to our DeFi Academy. Which is basically where we'll be giving you not just the course, but everything we're doing in DeFi, telling you what plays we're in, breaking down white papers, breaking down all the millions of projects, millions of chains, opportunities, airdrops that are available out there and bring it straight to you. We know you guys are busy and we believe there's a lot of value in doing that for you, but we also believe there's a lot of value in giving you the tools or the fishing rod to go fish for yourself too. So that's the offer. seriously, I'm really, really excited for this. I actually can't wait to I know Clint loves teaching us. So he even had us up to his holiday place, just so he could, show us everything of DeFi he's been doing and make sure we get the course right and have a bit of fun with it. We had a lot of fun doing that as well. We can't wait to get you guys on board. We've got our next podcast is going to be on DeFi, where we interview Clint, find out a bit more about his story, really introduce everyone to him. But it's a pretty stacked episode. Go back through the timestamps, and if you skipped around, that's not a problem either. But thanks so much for joining us on another Imperial Wealth podcast now. Very exciting, and we'll see you next week.